should I quit my job without a backup plan? Alrighty, I like it. I like it. So, howdy, Fi Guys. Howdy. That is us. We are the Fi Guys, yes. First off, I want to say thank you for your podcast and the community that you've built. The Fi Guys have been a huge source of motivation for me, and I appreciate the way that both of you keep things real while making financial independence feel achievable. I wanted to reach out because I'm at a major crossroads in my career. After a lot of thought, I've decided to leave my job without another one lined up. It's not a decision I've made lightly, but over time, I've realized that staying where I'm at is costing me more than just my time. Chris and I can both relate to that. So
I have been there. Yes, it's like this is like me 5-10 years ago.
Honestly, the job has become draining mentally and emotionally. Sounds about right. What once felt like an opportunity for growth now feels like a dead end. I catch myself clocking in and out with any real sense of purpose. And even outside of work, I find my energy and my creativity fading. It's always a bad thing when your job is affecting your day-to-day, your actual life. Right? That's always a terrible thing.
Yeah, it's always hard because like so many people say, oh, well, your job isn't your life. It's not supposed to be your life. But when it starts to bleed into that because you're putting so much energy into it, well, now it's kind of forcing itself into it.
Yeah, really is. It is very difficult. I know that financial independence is about creating options. And while I'm not fully FI yet or financially independent, I feel like I need to take control of my time now rather than waiting for the perfect moment that may never come. Very smart. Very smart. Financially, I've saved up a cushion to give myself some breathing room. And I have a few ideas on how to generate income in the meantime. Nice. But the uncertainty of it all still feels a bit overwhelming. Of course, as it should. Since both of you have experience in designing life on your own terms, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have either of you ever made a leap like this? And what advice would you give to someone stepping away from a stable paycheck without a sure thing lined up? I really appreciate everything you guys do, and I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective if I am selected for this week's Fi Friday feedback. Well, congratulations, you are selected for this week's Fi Friday feedback if you didn't catch that already. From no backup plan, on faith I stand, because I'm leaving the grind to chase what's mine. Alrighty. Interesting. How about
nice.
That? Well. That has to be... I got to talk on this real quick, and then I'll pass it back to you.
Go for it, please.
Professionally, career-wise, there's nothing scarier than leaving your job. There's nothing scarier. I mean, I think, and from everyone I've heard that had to leave their job or made the choice, they made the choice to put themselves at risk, put themselves in a fire, put themselves in a place where I don't know what's going to happen next, right? They got to that decision by not being able to sleep, by them thinking about it every day, by it consuming their thoughts, by knowing in their soul, in their heart of hearts, that this just isn't for me anymore. And that's tough. That's the toughest decision somebody can make professionally, right? Right? So I applaud you for even coming to this conclusion. Right, Chris, what do you have? What's your thoughts on this one?
I would love to just kind of some back and forth on this one, but I've certainly been here before in this situation, and for me, like entrepreneurship was never even my path. I don't believe, I don't think like even as an entrepreneur that I have the right mindset for an entrepreneur. I have too much anxiety, too much fear, too much of everything. The one thing that is very nice for me is that I have a very, very low spending rate, like stupid low, which gave me a lot of wiggle room to be able to design a life that was intended to me. So when I kind of got to my point of taking the leap to creating my own company, it was forced upon me. And I know exactly what you're saying, where the scariest thing is to jump by choice. It's so scary. That's where we kind of fall into this one more year syndrome. That's something that people on the financial independence realm get to a lot. They have their money. Maybe they're have the 4% rule. They even have some extra cushion. They have a few years of savings. They have all this stuff. But their brain goes, no, 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 one more year. Just save up a little bit more, save up a little bit more. Because what if? What if? What if? Your brain is a predicting machine. And of course, it's going to predict the worst outcome because its goal is not to keep you thriving. It is to keep you alive. And it believes that if you run out of money, well, that's it. Like you just drop dead. Like the timer ran out, you're done. But that's not what actually happens. We all adapt. So when I got to this stage in my life, I remember waking up in the morning, being in my closet because I'd be up before my wife was, and I'd be getting dressed in the closet and like having to negotiate with myself to pull my pants up, negotiate with myself to drive to work, negotiate with myself like, please, just God, like don't quit today. Like you can make it another day. To the point where I was just an asshole, like all the time. I was mean at work. I was mean at home. I was mean to my dogs. I was mean to just people. Like I just was not a happy person. And I did my best to separate my work self from my personal self, but they're the same person. Like you can't just completely separate yourself. Like there's that one show on Apple TV, like Severance, where you walk into a place, you scan your card, and now all of a sudden, like you don't remember who you are outside of work. But that's not the way that the world works. So I know what that's like. And I also know what it's like to work a job that you absolutely love and that you would do even if you're not getting paid. And I know what it's like to stand on that precipice and wonder, should I jump? And I can't give you the answer because I don't know if you're going to make it or not. Only you can decide if you're going to make it or not. Only you can decide what is success and not success, because the only thing I can tell you is that as you go through life, you will find success if you stick to it long enough, if you keep on going long enough. And oftentimes the success you find is not the success you set out for. It's a different form. Maybe you don't succeed in the business working out. Maybe you don't succeed in all these things, but you grew, you became a better person. It moved you on to the next stage of your evolution. And only we can know that by looking back on it and believing that it was the right thing. But also if you believe, oh, I made the biggest mistake of my life, I'm such a fool, it took me to this place that I don't want to be, then that's your reality. Things just are. Your story just is. You assign value to if it's good or bad. What thoughts do you have from that, Dominic? And I probably have some more.
Gosh, I mean, so he's saying, should I quit my job without a backup plan? Now, he does have money saved. It reminds me of a scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Bruce is trying to escape the prison, right? And he's climbing up the wall. And he has a safety net. He's climbing. Builds himself stronger and stronger and stronger. Every time he jumps, he fails, right? And he doesn't understand why until he goes to the prison doctor and he says, you need to feel fear. You need to embrace the fear. The fear is what can motivate you. The fear is what can drive you to new limits, to new heights, right? If you don't know where your next meal's coming, or you don't know where the next paycheck's coming from, you don't know how you're going to put the lights on, I guarantee you, you're going to find a way, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't quit your job. I'm not saying you should quit your job. All I'm saying is sometimes we need to be tested. And sometimes when we are tested, it's going to hurt a lot. You might run out of money. You might have to go live in your car. You might have to move in with your parents. You might have to skip a few meals. But I think it's important to embrace every experience as it comes. I think it's important to, especially as a man, I don't know if you're a man or woman, but I'm assuming you're a man. I believe it's important for men to suffer to an extent, right? But if you are going to suffer at your own hands, not at the hands of someone else. And suffer for a cause, not just endless suffering. Right now, you're at a job you don't like. It's draining your soul. It's draining your energy. It's draining everything, right? You're suffering for a paycheck, right? But maybe you look at your bosses and you think, you know what? I could do a better job than them. I could do exactly the same job as them. Maybe I open my own company and compete against this company, right? Something like that. I don't know. I don't know what your journey is, but I do know that sometimes we just need to embrace fear. And like we talked about a few podcasts back, fear is not something that we should be running from or scared of. It's a friend. It's a tool. It's to be used when you need it. It can be a great motivator. It can be a great pacifier too, though. It's all about the story you're telling yourself. So make sure that you're being very, 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 very mindful. And this goes for everybody, but make sure you're being very mindful about the stories you're telling yourselves. And anytime you're telling yourself a script, a story that comes through and you're like, ooh, that's not serving me, change it. Don't ever try not to think of it ever again. You got to change that story. You got to change that crap, because the stories you tell yourself, it encourages what you do, and what you do is who you become. That's kind of my take on it. Chris, what other takes did you have on it?
You know, he's basically asking us, should I do this or not do this? And
Permission.
you know,
Yeah.
obviously, he's asking for permission. And at the end of the day, like, is it financially a wise decision? Most likely not. And I don't have enough information. Like, you say that you have a financial cushion. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means a month. I don't know if that means 6 months. I don't know if that means 10 years. Like, I don't know what your family looks like. Can I move back in with my parents? I don't know how old you are. I don't know anything. But it sounds like what you want is permission to quit your job. You need to find that in yourself. Do you have permission from yourself to quit your job? Do you believe that you could do it? I don't know. I would never want anyone, like, this is a freaking podcast. I don't know you. Like, you can't just listen to me and be like, well, Chris told me that I could quit my job and everything would be fine. That would be crazy. But do you believe that you could figure it out? Like, right now, regardless of what job statistics shows, it's not a good job market. Yes, there's a lot of jobs open, but there are a lot of part-time kind of mediocre jobs. I don't know what your lifestyle looks like. I have no idea how much you're spending. I have no idea how much you're making. I don't know any of this information. But if your life is so bleak right now, going to work is so difficult, and you are really that afraid, could you line something else up before you leave? Go get a job at a convenience store. I mean, obviously you need to know how much money you're spending, how much money you're making. You have to have this information. That knowledge, that clarity is power in its own. Then once we have that clarity, we can have understanding. We begin to understand why we are the way we are. Then from that understanding, we can start to make change, conscious change, to be the person that we want to be. But I don't know if you have the clarity. I don't know if you have the understanding. And right now you're just trying to go to the change. So again, I'm not going to say if you should leave your job or not leave your job. I have no idea on what you should do with your life. But I do know what it's like to wake up every day to a job that you absolutely hate. I know what it's like to negotiate with yourself, to have to walk into the room, negotiate with yourself every single day. And I know how draining that is. I don't know what place you're in. And I can tell you from my place, if I could go back and just be a good employee, listen to other people, not ask questions, not ask why, not try to drive to be a better person, my life would probably be a lot easier as an employee, a lot more simple to have a place that I work from blank hour to blank hour. After that, I turn it off. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're all those things, you don't have that luxury. It's on 24/7. When you're trying to go to bed, when you're watching TV with your kids, when you're at the gym, it's on all the time. And that's why oftentimes entrepreneurs are paid so handsomely. It's because you're working 24/7. But people look from the outside in saying, oh, look how easy it is. Look how nice that is. They're just making all this money. It's because they're suffering. And they chose the suffering for them that was the right suffering. The suffering of never being sure, of being constantly afraid, of constantly working, rather than the suffering of being subservient to somebody else, having to live a life that they believe was smaller than them, having to be the person that other people wanted them to be. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. But if you believe you can make it, I believe you can too. People that go into entrepreneurship, and I don't even know when you say like you want to design your life, I don't even know if it is entrepreneurship. I'm just kind of going that way because that's the way that I'm thinking about it. People that go into entrepreneurship, they do it out of a desire to do it no matter what. Even if they think like, I don't know if this is going to make it. This might be the worst decision of my life. It might be the best decision, but I have to try. And it's that fear. The fear of at the end of my life, looking back and not knowing that I tried my best, outweighs the fear of the unknown of failing. Because both of those fears are 100% real. Which fear is greater for you? The fear of failing and trying, or the fear of never trying at all? They're both there. Which one's more important? That's a question that only you can answer. And I can guarantee you at the end of your life, regardless if you do it or don't do it, if you choose to look at it positively, it will be positive. If you choose to look at it negatively, it will be negative. You're at a nexus point where your story can go in different ways. And in truth, every single moment, we are at a nexus point of our life going in different ways. Recently, I played a little game with ChatGPT. I went into it and I gave it all the information that I remember about myself when I was 21 years old. And, I just graduated college. I was a lifeguard at this place, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, predict in the next 15 years where this person's going to be, or next 12 years where this person's going to be. And it gave me a story about this person's going to be here. Then I asked it, okay, do it again. Gave me another story. Oh, this person is here. Some of the stories were great. Some of the stories were sad. Some of the stories were, oh, this person broke his leg, got addicted to drugs and died. Some of the stories were, this person joined the Marine Corps, continued on doing these things, died in war. Some of the stories where this person got a finance degree, did all these other things. So many points in our life are these nexus moments, the moment where everything converges to become who you are, who you're going to become. And not till we look back on it do we see that path that we went through. You're trying to control the future. Just like I talked about with that experiment that I ran with ChatGPT, because it is great at coming up with stories, is there were so many little moments that could have diverged my path entirely. Pure luck. Maybe I had one drink at a bar one time. Legally, I was sober, but I got in a car accident just due to the nature of reality. Someone pulled in front of me. And of course, since I had the alcohol in my system, I go to jail. Some of the stories that ChatGPT came up with are better than my life now. Some of them, many of them were far worse. But so much of it came down to sheer dumb luck and a belief that no matter what, I was going to make it through that. That's where I am today. But who knows all of the steps that could have happened to me not being here with Dominic today, not doing what I'm doing. All of the things looking back on it all seems like pure dumb luck because it was. And I took that pure dumb luck and I chose to do something with it. That's the place that you are at right now. Are you going to do it? Are you not going to do it? I don't know. Only you can decide. Are you going to be okay? Are you going to be not okay? Only you can decide. But I believe in you. You're a member of the community. You're trying to grow. You're trying to get better. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, 100%. While you were speaking, I had this idea, and this is just for me in my own life. And I don't know if you can relate or if anybody else can relate, but sometimes I believe in myself quite a lot. Other times I believe in myself not at all. But all the time I believe in everyone else. Like for you, example, Chris. Like for you, I believe in you, man. I believe you could do freaking anything. You could do anything. Like, you're amazing. You could do, if you wanted to do finance stuff, you want to do fitness stuff, you want to do this, you want to do that, you could do anything. I believe that into you, right? But I think it's so important to take a step back from yourself, look at yourself, and you're like, you know what? I believe in this guy too. And you're just looking in the mirror. I believe in this guy too. He can do it. He can freaking do it. He can do anything he sets his mind to. And sometimes all you have to do is take that leap of faith. And oftentimes, it's a freaking stupid move. Oftentimes, on paper, it's the dumbest move. But it's the only move, right? So many times, and I know in both of our lives, Chris, where it's like, man, I got to make a change. And the only way I can change is it's going to be rough. It's going to be bad before it becomes good again. It's going to be rocky. It's going to be, it's another Batman quote. It's always darkest right before dawn. And you could jump off and everything's great. And maybe you sail off into the wind and everything is awesome, right? Maybe not. Chances are not. Probably not.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. But Chris and I say that with a smile, because the faster you can get through the pain and understand it, the faster you can get to the other side of happiness, and not even happiness, but just a little bit smoother sails. That's what we'll call it. Just a little smoother sails, right? So like Chris said, like we can't give you the yes or no, but we can give our perspectives. And we hope that helps you make your decision. And we hope that any decision that you do make, you're ready and willing to live with it.
What I would do at this point, since I tried that experiment with ChatGPT, it kind of was one of those life-changing moments.
Yeah.
I reread the book Dark Matter, which is this whole book on theoretical physics, on every time that we have a moment to make a decision, that a new universe is created. It's kind of like that infinite universe is the infinite doorway. So you think about it, that everyone has that moment. Everyone has moments in their life where they can choose to go left or right. And in truth, there's infinite decisions we can all make. And if each one of us is creating that consciousness, we're creating a new parallel reality where we all live the same life until we tangent over and over and over again. You can, if you want to, listener, feed ChatGPT everything that you're about yourself, everything. And then say, hey, based off of this, where's this person going to be in 10 years? And start reading those stories. In 10 years, do I like this person? Do I not like this person? None of those stories are true. And all of those stories are wrong, and all of those stories are real simultaneously right now because we haven't got there. It's like Schrodinger's cat. The cat is both dead and alive simultaneously until we actually look inside the box to find out. You have to ask yourself the question, regardless of what happens, if you read the good stories and the bad stories, are you going to be happy that you took the leap? Or are you going to be happy that you stayed where you were? I can't answer that for you. So we wish you the best of luck, man. Whatever you do, just know that I believe in you. Dominic believes in you. But that doesn't really matter because what really matters is do you believe in yourself.
100%. I love that assignment you gave at the end about the 10 years in the future with ChatGPT. That is exciting.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.